council meeting of Wednesday, June 11th, 2025. I will now call the meeting to order. And 1.1 is the territorial acknowledgement. We acknowledge that we are Mi'kma'ki, the ancestral and unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people. Administrative procedural issues, 2.1, approval of the agenda for today's meeting, and the motion is that the agenda be approved as presented, and we do have some changes to that, so we're going to add in under 6.3, you guys have got a handout on that, I think, is the purchase of the Parsboro Rescue Truck, and 6.4 will be the Cumberland Water Utility Source Water Advisory Committee citizen appointments. And Councilor O'Telling, go ahead. That will become 6.5. How's that? Okay, anyone else? I'm just making a note here, Jen. Just give me 1 second on that one. Okay, we're good now. Okay, so having made all of those changes, could I have a motion to approve the agenda for today's meeting, please? Moved by Councilor O'Telling, seconded by Councilor Fromm. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carried. 2.2, appoint your eyes to the direct declaration of conflict of interest as it's contained in the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act, whereby you are required to declare a conflict of interest prior to any discussions on the matter. Item number 3, strategic priority issues. There are none for today. Number 4, major organizational items, none for today. Number 5, organizational policy and bylaw items. There are none of those today. And number 6, business issues, which is the full load for today. 6.1 is the grants to organizations 2025-2026, and our Deputy CAO, Peter McCracken, will lead us in this one. Go ahead, Mr. McCracken.
Excuse me. Thank you, Worship. As you know, the municipality grants funding to community organizations annually. This year, the municipality received approximately $1.8 million worth in requests for financial assistance from various organizations across the county. The demand is so significant that during the budget process, Council agreed to increase the tax rate in part to provide more funds for this program. Many applicants will receive less than they requested, and some will receive none at all. The municipality is, I guess we're recommending that $910,854.50 is allocated to community organizations this year, broken down into 4 categories: school bursaries, district grants, county general grants, and annual grants. The funds will be funded from the 2025-26 operating budget. The recently approved operating budget included additional funds for this program as mentioned. The 1%, or approximately $212,000 of the tax rate increase was allocated to increase the funds for this program. And there's a recommended motion in your package, Your Worship.
Thank you very much, Mr. McCracken. The recommended motion is that Council approve the grants to organizations for the 2025-2026 fiscal year totaling $910,854.50 as detailed in the attached list. If somebody would like to make the motion. Moved by Councilor Redmond, seconded by Councilor Strong. Any discussion or comments? Go ahead. Councilor Redmond, followed by Councilor Lee.
Yeah, I just want to put it out there. This was a very difficult process for all of council to go through, knowing the hardships that our communities are dealing with in trying to make ends meet in this economy. Also, some that have been denied in my area can reapply for a district grant. I may be able to help in some way that way, and the other districts too. Again, very difficult on all of council to come to this conclusion. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councilor Redmond. Councilor Lee.
Your Worship, thank you. I would like just to have a brief conversation with council just around one of the grants that came through from my area, and I am wondering if there's any flexibility at all. It was around the portable toilet rental for multiple sites in our area. So what we were looking at is Lower Cove Beach, River Hibbert Baseball Field, Titleborg Park, Seaman Museum Minuti, and Titleborg Park Macan. The only reason why I'm bringing this forward to council again is because we have absolutely nowhere in our area to stop to use a washroom. And the employees who work in Minuti also do not have an operational bathroom. So I just wanted to bring it forward to council. I have the quote. If this is something that we could look at, having a little bit of flexibility with adding, I don't know how to proceed from here, other than that I brought this forward.
I guess the big one would be to state the cost, as per the quote you have
So
there.
the quote is from Tuxedo Septic Cleaning. They give us a deal, they minus $1,500 plus HST on savings, so the total quote comes to $3,125 for the season.
I'll now defer to the CAO for a second here as to what's next.
So, thank you, Your Worship. I guess the question I would have is, the grant is to which organization?
It would be to the River Hibbert and Joggins Area Development Association.
Okay, that was, I had a question about procurement, but if we're granting it to the organization, I don't any longer, so.
So, just to be clear on this, can council now discuss this and decide to add it to the budget, or talk about it that way, or what's the best?
Sure,
path?
so it would seem that this is an operations and maintenance fits in that bucket. The total in that bucket is $201,500. The amendment to consider is to amend the operations and maintenance section of the grants to organizations by adding a grant to the River Hibbert and Joggins Area Development Association in the amount of $3,125 to fund porta potties in the area, and that would bring the total of that section to 204,625, I think, and would bring the total of all grants to, somebody can do the math faster than me, but it's
You're doing a fantastic job.
979, is that right, Peter? So that would be the amendment, Your Worship.
Okay. I guess the discussion on that would be, is anyone opposed to making this amendment?
So to be clear, I just in terms
Sure,
of procedure, if I
okay.
could, so we have a motion.
The motion,
We have a motion on the floor, so Councillor Lee
Has made the
would be
motion.
required, so the motion is to approve the grants, correct? Do we have that motion on the floor now?
Yes.
Moved and seconded?
Yep.
So the motion in order would be a secondary one, and that would be to amend the main motion by doing what I just described.
Okay.
So it would be a motion to amend the main motion to include a grant for $3,125 for the River Hibbert and Joggins Area Development Association in the operations and maintenance section for $3,125. If the council can debate that part of the motion and then come back to the main motion, and depending on how that's decided.
Or do you want, so do you, Councillor Redmond and Councillor Lee are on the main motion? What? Oh, Strong, sorry, okay, you got, Redmond and Strong are on the main motion, so Councillor Lee is free to make a secondary motion to
Yep.
add this in.
Yes.
So, which I'm assuming you're now making.
And somebody has to second that.
So, we have a seconder of Councillor McCormick on that.
Okay.
Okay, so, any comments or discussion on any of this? I'll only say that, again, the unintended thing with this one was, in most areas of the county, there are available other facilities, and are freely used, as in Ottawa House and the different places around Parsboro and all over the place. So this, we did not anticipate this would be an issue until it came up in this manner, so, anyway, so, yeah, so if everybody's okay with it, ready to vote? I'll call for the question. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded? Hearing none, the motion is carried.
So now we're on the main motion as amended.
So, back to the main motion. Councilor Redmond, are you willing to maintain the motion as amended?
Yes.
With the increase of $3,125? Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay, so we're good there. You're still willing to second it, Councilor Strong? Okay, so now we'll call for any questions or any comments on any of this, other than what we've already heard from Councilor Redmond. Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded? Motion is carried. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. McCracken. I know it's been an awful lot of work to get this to where it is now. Thank you so much for your efforts and to your staff. And now we go to 6.2, Extended Producer Responsibility, EPR. Justin Walkrest, Director of Public Works, will lead us in this one. Mr. Walkrest, you now have the floor.
Thank you, Your Worship. The province of Nova Scotia has approved extended producer responsibility regulations, which are going to take effect December 1st of this year. The EPR regulations shift the financial and operational responsibility for recycling from municipalities to the organizations that produce and sell packaging and paper. The organization Circular Materials was established by these producers and is responsible for implementing and managing EPR recycling systems in Nova Scotia. Municipalities provide data to Circular Materials and Divert Nova Scotia detailing our contracted administration costs and the number of stops. Two options are proposed to the municipalities by Circular Materials. One is to opt in, which would continue to operate under our existing contract for a period of 3 years. I believe it expires in 2028, March 31st. Or the opt-out service model where Circular Materials would take over the collection. We have been negotiating a financial offer with Circular Materials for the opt-in service model where we would continue to operate our existing curbside collection contract with Miller Waste and collecting recycling as did with the amendments as necessary to the waste streams to accommodate EPR. But Circular Materials would compensate us for the cost of collecting that recycling and then downstream processing it and tipping fees. So, the way they presented their offer to us and through negotiations, we've reached the offer of $6.62 per stop per month, including $1.50 per stop per year for education and things of that nature. You kind of extend that out, what that means for us over the year, it equals about $1,051,572. That offsets our contract costs for the collection of recycling, and it covers in the first year our staffing costs as put forward in the manual that Circular Materials puts forward. You can take so much % of this staff and so much % of that staff. The Circular Materials offer allows for CPI to be applied after the first year, and that would be start January 1st, 2027. And looking at our costing, applying that would ought to continue to cover off our staffing costs as permitted by Circular Materials. Looking at the environmental implications, extended producer responsibility for the packaging materials they use for their products should encourage manufacturers to use more recyclable materials or less packaging overall, which would be a benefit to our environment. Putting forward to council that having reached this kind of negotiated offer here, the council approved the opt-in service model of implementing extended producer responsibility.
Thank you very much, Mr. Walkrest. The recommended motion is that council approve the opt-in service model of implementing extended producer responsibility. Someone would like to make that motion. Moved by Councilor Telling, seconded by Councilor Fromm. And any discussion or comments on any of this? Go ahead, Mr. Garrett.
Thank you, Worship. As Mr. Walkrest pointed out, about $1 million worth of additional revenue that we didn't have before, which is a great thing. You recall that in our budget exercise and the budget that was approved this a couple of months ago, we recognized about $300,000 worth of that revenue because in terms of the monthly amount that would be in the fiscal year. That leaves us with about $650,000, $700,000 next year to account for, and I'll just remind everybody that we talked about the challenges that we had in terms of investing in infrastructure and in particular in the fire service and the capital costs of the fire service, and our intention at least is to bring that forward as a use for those funds going forward. So just a housekeeping item and a reminder for everybody before we spend all that money again. So anyway, thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else have any comments on this? Okay, hearing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Reminded. Motion is carried. Thank you very much. Item 6.3. I'm going to invite Director Alan Cole, Protective Services, up to talk on the purchase of Parsboro Rescue Truck.
Thank you, Your Worship. The recommended motion before council, Your Worship, is that council approve the purchase of a rescue truck for the Parsboro Fire Department in the amount of $272,373 plus non-recoverable HST, for a total of $282,879.52 from Fort Garry Fire Trucks. We have previously gone through the details. The Fort Garry truck had the best price of all proponents and the shortest delivery time. And we've also been happy with the previous apparatus. Happy to take any questions, Your Worship.
Thank you very much, Director Cole. The recommended motion is that council approve the purchase of a rescue truck in the amount of $272,373 plus non-recoverable HST in the amount of $10,506.52 for a total of $282,879.52 from Fort Garry Fire Trucks, if someone would like to make the motion. Moved by Councillor Strong, seconded by Councillor Lee. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, I'll call for the motion. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded? Hearing none, the motion is carried. Thank you very much, Director Cole. Next up, 6.4, we're going to invite Justin Walcrass, Director of Public Works, back. And the subject is the Cumberland Water Utility Source Water Advisory Committee Citizen Appointments. Mr. Walcrass, you have the floor.
Thank you, Your Worship. The Cumberland Water Utility Source Water Advisory Committee terms of reference was recently set out and approved by council, and then that lays out the membership of that committee. We have advertised for interested parties to bring us their applications to serve on this committee for folks that are customers of the water utility, whether it be in Pugwash, Spring Hill, or Parsboro, as well as landowners that surround the well fields and source water areas that supply these three systems within our Cumberland Water Utility. We received applications from Mr. Michael Black and Ms. Maureen Woodlock. Mr. Black is a customer of the Pugwash water system, and Ms. Woodlock owns property in and around the Pugwash well field. Both of these criteria qualify them to serve on this committee, and we would recommend the council appoint these individuals to the Source Water Protection Committee.
Good. Thank you very much, Mr. Walcrass. The recommended motion is that council appoint Michael Black and Maureen Woodlock to the Cumberland Water Utility Source Water Advisory Committee serving the term of council. If somebody would like to make that motion, moved by Councillor Telling, seconded by Councillor Lockhart. Any comments or discussion on this? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor of these appointments and this motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion is carried. And on behalf of council and myself, I'd like to thank Maureen and Michael for volunteering for this committee. It's greatly appreciated. Item 6.5, Councillor Hotelling wishes to bring something to the floor in regards to uranium exploration in the County of Cumberland. Go ahead, Councillor Hotelling.
Thank you, Your Worship. So I have been contacted by residents and attended a public meeting in Tatamagouche around the uranium exploration and mining that is happening currently with the province. Residents are reaching out and expressing deep concern about the exploration possibility and that it could begin as early as July 11th of this year. Questions that they have include, if companies are approved for uranium exploration, do they have any legal right to also go forward and do mining? What are the risks, long-term or short-term, and has this been identified by the government ahead of issuing the RFP for exploration, which I believe is supposed to happen today? Have the communities, landowners, and First Nations been consulted? Is there any danger to the watersheds surrounding the sites? How much water is used to extract uranium? What is the process? What happens to the radon that is released? We have already significant concern around radon in the province. In fact, in all of our libraries, there's radon kits so people can test radon in their basements because it exists already. So there was a lot of concern about that. And then there was a map circulated of all the open claim sites that have been open since the announcement in March that lifted the ban on uranium exploration. And the question was, are all the sites on the map for uranium mining or for all mineral claims? And then there was questions around the amount of supply coming from Saskatchewan and that why isn't that enough to deliver the amount of uranium that's needed? So I do not know any of these answers. I feel people would be much more comfortable if there was a scientific report and consultations with communities that shared this type of information. So I do have two requests from council. One would be, I'd just like to hear if anyone else is hearing from residents in their areas about this issue, and if you have concern. And so I'll ask for that discussion after I make a motion. So the motion would be that council have staff write a letter to Premier Houston respectfully requesting that the provincial government pause before granting any licenses for uranium exploration and carry out consultations and a rigorous science-based evaluation of risks and benefits before deciding whether exploration for uranium can proceed, and that the letter also be sent to NSFM to request that this become a priority. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Tully. For the motion, seconder for the motion, Councillor Redmond. Any comments or discussion on the motion? Councillor Redmond, followed by Councillor Gould.
I will say that I have had a few people contact me in regards to their fear on this, and I did forward an email from one of the concerned people. So this is new, and it seems like it's just being pushed through very quickly without any consultation. So, and I'm sure we'll get more.
Thank you very much. Deputy Mayor Gould, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just wondering, we sent a letter, reply back, I think it was Minister Laurie maybe, who had requested that we wanting us to kind of bid in on this as well as, I think it was trade talks between borders. I'm just wondering, that letter can we just get a little bit of insight as to our response on that letter was to consult with us, I believe, I thought.
Go ahead.
Yep, so, yes, the letter essentially said, the request from the government was, do you support increased exploration? In particular, the context was fracking, but there was other forms of exploration. And I think that our letter and, writ large said, we're neither in support nor not in support, and that if we say, show us, it's not at any cost, and that we would determine whether council supported specific projects based on the merit of the projects at the time. And that generally was the gist of the letter. And it was sent, months ago. So.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Okay. I will say that previous to this, as recently as last year, when all of those flags and posts went up all over the Hastings and East Amherst indicating some fracking and drilling activity there, that there was I had a large number of people call and approach me about it, and I don't know if you, Anthony, I think you had some too, and I would also sort of say too, I think, Jen, that I would be more inclined to sign the letter myself as the mayor and have each member of our council sign it rather than have staff do it. I think it is more respectful to the people we're sending it to and maybe carry a little bit more weight. I'm not sure that there's a path where we're ever going to get to a spot where we welcome, fracking or uranium mining and all of these things with open arms in our county. But again, it's a lot easier to make a decision if you're properly informed. And it's like the meeting the other night in Pugwash with the healthcare, and your comments about how informative that was and how it answered a lot of questions for you. Perhaps the letter could ask that the government would send someone or somebody or whatever, an expert in this field, to get us the answers to your questions, or we could include them in the letter as a separate attachment and say, this is the stuff we'd like to know about and the answers we'd like to have. And hopefully they would take the time to set up a meeting with us or come up and or whatever, you know, and fill us in on what all of this means, because I think, quite frankly, if it was ever put to a vote tomorrow by plebiscite, it would be an overwhelming response at this point would be no, because nobody knows exactly how bad this potentially could be for all of us, you know. And we, you know, the benefits are a bit obvious in that economic development, it's jobs and the economy and all of that. But in this case, do they ever outweigh the harm to the environment, right? So I think we need a lot more answers before we do anything else at this point, and write a letter and say we're not for it. Bring us the stuff and tell us why we should be, or why we should even think about it. So anyway,
Can I ask?
Scott, go ahead.
Yeah, I was thinking about this when I saw the email come in today, and I have to agree with your worship, like your approach to this. And I think Greg and I have talked about this before, and I would like to see, like the same as you said, like the old fracking and people turned their taps on, there was fire coming out of them. I think there's a lot of new science. I'm not saying I support it, but I don't know anything about it. And I think that's what you just said. And I think I would be open to learn more about it, but I will support this motion because I think at this particular time, it is the thing to do. But I would definitely be open to learning more about the science involved with the, I'm sure it's changed in the last 25 years.
Thank you very much, Councillor Lockhart. Councillor Redmond.
Just a suggestion, I wonder if we are able to have someone come speak to us, that we have it at a public place like maybe Spring Hill, so that the communities can listen to what he has to say and what they're telling us, because we'd never fit everybody that's going to be interested in this small space.
No, exactly.
Just, you know, just a thought.
So listening, if I could, to listen to the conversation, I was thinking about how that might draft the letter, and I was thinking we would probably remind whomever the addressee is, I guess it's the premier, of our letter, of our most recent letter, recite the questions that are in Councillor O'Telling's memo, and ask for a public meeting that they hold in the area. Does that work?
Absolutely.
So writ large, that was what it would look like.
Just because, you know, listen, just because they decide it's a good idea doesn't mean we have to agree. First of all. Second of all, you know, there are always going to be things that whatever government is in power in the province at any given point in time, there's never going to be a situation where we 100% agree with everything that they want to do. It's just a matter that if you're going to disagree, be respectful and get the answers that you want and hold the ground to get the answers. Don't let them fluff it through, you know, like, let's get the real answers here. And if this is the method which works best, then let's push for it and be strong about it, so, okay. Anybody else? Ready for the question? All those in, oh, we want to amend that motion to say that I and all of members of council will sign that versus staff. Is that okay? Yeah. Okay. And we will also add in the addendum with your list of questions. Yeah, okay. All in favor of this motion as amended, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded? Hearing none, the motion is carried. Thank you very much, everyone. Motion to adjourn, moved by Deputy Mayor Gould. We are now adjourned. Thank you, folks. And before everybody bolts